어떻게 잡아냅니까? 오비셜 리프.
오윤수가 지금 당장에 실수를 한다. 이병렬 이렇게 또 벽에 부딪히나요? 이병렬 다시 한번
사라졌어요.
8강의 벽을. 정말 이병렬의 욕심과 목표와 원하는 그림들이 눈에 보였습니다. 그 정도로 간절해 보였는데. 좀 아쉬웠거든요. GSL 슈퍼 토너먼트에서 한을 풀면서 기세, 블리츠까지 끌고 가고 싶을 겁니다. 속도감이 집중이 안 된 거죠. 이병렬의 추가 병력이 맹겼죠.
또 말입니까? 그동안에 한계를 뚫습니까?
블리츠컨이라는 티켓까지 더 잡았다고 보호했으면 이런 기회도 없었죠.
2017년 유일한 저우승자로 이름을 올려놓으면서 이번 시즌 마무리하는 이병렬.
다시 의욕이 생기는 것 같아서 기분이 너무 좋습니다.
We've narrowed it down to 2. We start out with players from all around the world. We've narrowed it down to 2. Series GG killing off one of the last areas of Sue. GG. Ro is your 2017 WCS World Champion.
마지막 주인공은 제가 된 것 같아서 너무 뿌듯합니다. 내년에는 꼭 한국 팬들이 있는 앞에서 GSL 우승컵을 목표로 이끌어 가겠습니다.
Live from Free Cup Studio in Seoul, this is the GSL.
It's time to go to the final best of 3. And this is really a classic matchup with two great players. It's ByuL versus Deer. I think we can all be happy with whoever moves on. Sure. And of course, I'll be bummed out with whoever's eliminated. These are two household names in StarCraft 2. Two people that really the GSL wouldn't be the same without them.
That is true. They've given us a lot of great storylines over the years, a lot of deep finishes as well. And one of them has to go home, unfortunately. For both of them, I think it would be a heartbreaker. ByuL having such a rough year last year. Deer, everyone thinks he's one of the best players, including himself, and he just doesn't have that championship. So to go out in the round of 32, this is not the way to start a year that you have declared you will win a tournament.
We're going to start this off on Abyssal Reef. I think one of the best StarCraft 2 maps ever made. From there, Ascension to IR and Catalyst. Again, this is a best of 3. The 3 spots so far for the round of 16 has been filled. One of these two players is going to fill in that last 4th spot as that player continues his journey onward to achieve that dream of becoming a GSL Code S
Season
champion.
1, Code S, Daybreak. When the lights come out.
In the upper left in the blue, our Zerk player, he is
ByuL.
God, the StarCraft 2 music's so good.
It really is. In the bottom right, in the red, our Protoss player.
Deer.
You know, just in general, I mean, I guess I play mostly Blizzard games anyways, but just music in Blizzard games is phenomenal.
Yeah, they do a very good job.
Yeah.
Selecting
I mean, you
good soundtracks.
you play a bigger range of games, but tell me I'm wrong that I feel like it's just really legit music.
It's got that right atmosphere. You know what it is?
It's always the right atmosphere.
Yeah, it's atmospheric, but you don't even notice it's played necessarily until it's pointed out. I mean, we cast so much
it
StarCraft.
adds a lot to it. Like I still, like I play at least half my games with StarCraft soundtracks on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I will confess, I actually tend to play my own music.
I play my own
on
music
there.
like maybe
and then
half the
sometimes I actually play with no music.
Oh.
I do find occasionally if it's a really
Yeah.
serious match that having no music might be better. But now I'm a little bit on the fence now that my hand is healed.
Yeah.
And I'm playing again. I'm really not sure which one is better for me. I actually, out of curiosity, how many pro gamers listen to soundtracks when they play? Do we know? Or are you allowed to? I've never even
Generally,
looked into this.
if it's a stage match, they'll have blaring music from the game or something like that.
Okay,
I think,
but you couldn't like
or
bring
white noise. Or
Are
something.
you allowed to like bring a playlist?
It
in
really
or
matters.
something?
It really matters the tournament. I know that there are people that do bring things. Like I remember, for instance, the legend of Nanoa listening to one thing on repeat and then like winning a tournament on it or something.
Yeah.
But that's not really that uncommon. When I used to actually practice as a pro in StarCraft 1, I would oftentimes do one song on repeat for
I
like
did that a lot.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Just kind of a rhythm to it, you know?
Yeah. I there's no rule against it, right? What if I had a special soundtrack?
No, I
it's
think
like
some of
make
them.
probes, make probes, make probes. Just gives them an edge.
No, I think it just matters on the tournament. Well, he scouts the Stargate. That's not a big surprise, though.
Yeah, Stargate's pretty normal. In fact, if you don't see a Stargate, then you're
That's when
really
you're like,
looking for
you're
what
probably
to
getting
counter.
all in.
Yeah.
Likely.
So seeing that Stargate just gets the confirmation what's happening. Let's see if it's a Phoenix or an Oracle first.
By the way, that third base placement, just a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
Normally, that is not the one.
That's actually the least likely out of the 3 possible third base locations.
You're quite right. In fact, I'm trying to remember ever seeing this as the third base. It's very, very uncommon, at least.
Well, it's funny because this is a map, as far as expanding patterns, this one really allows the player to really show what kind of style and approach they have to StarCraft 2, because we see different players take different bases in the same matchup.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the most interesting and cool things. The little shift we saw where half the Zergs in ZVT started taking the base to the right of the natural in ZVT. I was like blown away because this map had been in the rotation for so long already. And then all of a sudden people are like, this is the third I want. And I'm like, this is the cool thing about StarCraft 2 right here, man, is that this can change.
Am I wrong? Is this the map we've used for the longest period of time? It has to be by now, right?
Oh, I think Daybreak probably will never lose that.
Oh, is that right?
I think Daybreak will
This
probably
gets tricky
never,
for us, guys.
never lose that.
We've casted so much StarCraft 2 that
record.
sometimes this blends together. But
it
gosh,
all
I feel like
kinda
I've been
does.
casting Abyssal Reef forever.
Yeah, it's so popular, and it's like the #1 ladder map too. Like no one has this vetoed and stuff, you know.
But just a good map.
Yeah, it's a super sick map, and it just gives really good games. I really do think it's the best map we've ever had.
I agree. I think that this map is totally awesome.
I have so much fun playing this map, and it gives you such a variety too. But yeah, I mean, someone can check. I'm sure someone has figured out, what is the most played professional map. But I think it's probably Daybreak.
Well, I wasn't sure about
But
most
then again,
played,
I thought
but
Gargoyles didn't have arms.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that was a
I'm
really
kind of
embarrassing moment.
I'm
for
kind
you
of a
back
fool.
there.
Like, who's going to listen to
Yeah,
me? Lost all my credibility as a caster today.
it's rough, man. He's got a Warp Prism coming out here, and he's going to have that. He's able to pick that off right before the Warp Prism comes out. The Overlord's going to be taken out there. Ling's coming in here. The Oracle should be able to deny anything like that, and then wisely so. ByuL goes ahead and heads back. Warp Prism goes with the pickup to get those 2 Adepts. I believe the Lings are going to see this. Yes, they do. They do see the Warp Prism headed to the upper right and eventually over to probably floating outside the main.
Yeah, this isn't too crazy. There's not that many gates. Just gonna do some light harassment here. Maybe get a few drones if he possibly can. Twilight and Forge behind it, starting his Immortals as well. Whereas ByuL over here, finishing up his lair, so we should see a Hydralisk Den coming down at this point.
Already doing some damage to that Warp Prism. These 2 Adepts shading over here into the nook of the mineral patch, but will easily be picked up. Only 3 drone kills over there. The Warp Prism, nowhere easy to drop. In fact, I think he's going to have to eat some more Queen shots if he wants to get that out.
Yeah, he may have to. Might just sit in that dead space for a little bit as well. It's an okay place to have it anyways. It'll keep ByuL kind of on his back foot for a while. Later on when he's injecting, you can fly it out for free. But in the meantime, with that Hydra's Den and Baneling Nest on the way, you got to get your Templar Archives up. You got to get that Psystorm done. And I'd expect that we'll see Deer taking a 4th base pretty quickly here, as well as ByuL. I guess ByuL does already, actually.
So I think ByuL will get 4 Overlords.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's what I'm here for.
Well, I don't think anything too dramatic should be happening for a little while now. I think they just continue to power up. I think when these gateways finish, Protoss will probably start to test the perimeter of the Zerg's base, see if he can't bait anything out. Zerg will most likely try to rely on counterattacks, although I don't know if he's really going to be able to get anything done. I mean, the SimCity setup here by Deer is pretty good. And also, ByuL almost a little bit too ambitious with that Ling run by. I mean, I know that Lings are basically the most expendable unit in the game, but having several of them shaved off over and over again takes a lot of the punch out of your counterattacks for later on in the game.
What I was even more surprised than that about is the fact that he used 4 force fields. Because it's like, well, if the thing is, a lot of times these top pros will just give each other the benefit of the doubt and not attack. With, you know, like when he gets Baneling speed and Hydras out, like a lot of times you won't attack your opponent at this level because you'd be like, well, he'll hold it and I'll be in trouble. But like if you're using all those force fields, it becomes a lot harder to hold, you know? Like he doesn't have that many tools to stop Banelings right now.
Oh, this is actually a great catch. If these things can take it out, but with the Oracle here, no.
Yeah.
I take it back. I would like to apologize to the scene.
I'd like to apologize to my fans if I have any left.
I tried to show great cast for my fans. So at this point in time, Deer is just going to try to continue to grow. You know, it's funny because we had so many fast engages on this map, but this map has been so figured out. The defensive positioning has just been so whittled down to a science on both sides. It really is quite tough to push in at any point until basically you're getting maxed out, and that's when things start to speed up. So Protoss is going to go ahead and get the Storm now. We have a second Stargate going down as we're going to be going into the super late game tech. The same is true here for our Zerg player as well, clearing up a lot of these rocks. Oh, wow, that could have been interesting. And also getting a Spire.
That would have been a value storm right there.
I know.
Yeah, the Spire synced up with the Hive, so he's going to be going right into Broodlord tech with that. And he's got +2 about to finish here with the Lings and Bane, so that's pretty powerful. But that is not an army. Like, the thing is, if you attack into that and it's controlled correctly by Deer, you're in a lot of trouble. So this is that kind of situation where you're looking at it and saying, okay, unless you hit a very sharp timing on this, you don't really want to go in. And a lot of times these guys just give each other the benefit of the doubt. But this game, look at how much quicker his Fleet Beacon is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Deer is in really fine shape at this point.
It should be noted, again, I'm saying this because I know since it's free to play, we do have new people watching here. One thing to really keep an eye on is the after the next few big fights happen, how does the unit composition look here for Protoss? Did he lose, for instance, all the Immortals or all the Archons? And then is there any way that Zerg can try to pull it? Oh, hold up. Oh my God!
Ooh, he's got +2 on there as well, so that can be really brutal, but only gets 4, so 5. That was really well done. Good pull away by Deer.
Yeah.
I love that he's doing these drops, so when you get that +2 and you one-shot probes, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's so powerful. But to what I was saying earlier, if you can take out a huge chunk, for instance, the Immortals are coming out of the Robo here. Okay, I'm going to get interrupted again by a Baneling drop. To be continued. All right, nicely done.
Yeah.
If you can take out, for instance, all those Immortals, the Immortals are incrementing out of that Robo, right? If you could take out a whole bunch of very gas-intensive units, the Protoss can't quite remake that all. And then what you can do is, as the Zerg player, hammer together a unit comp that directly counters whatever they have or could have within the next minute and try to continue that on from there. So Protoss has to be very careful and control his army very precisely and not take any fights that are not worthwhile. Whereas the Zerg will continue to expand, noting how cautious the Protoss will be and the fact that the Zerg isn't required to try to engage in here. He's simply testing the waters and making sure that Protoss feels uncomfortable ever going too far out because of the threat of counterattacks from multiple different locations.
Now, he's chosen carriers again here.
Yeah.
Because he went for the earlier fleet beacon, I feel like this is not as troublesome as it was for him in the first time, where the carriers, I feel like 2 carriers don't really kill Broodlords that well. But this game, it's going to work out a lot better, in my opinion. But at the same time, I feel like there is an opportunity here for a Broodlord push. If you, like...
Yeah.
He's kind of losing it, though, because there's going to be now 5 carriers out in a moment. Oh, this is nice.
Wow.
Look at this move.
I didn't expect this, but yeah, the army is just not in a great position. So if he can just click down, okay, he decides to back out, erring on the side of caution. So what these Corruptors are going to do, they're going to try to assassinate the carriers right when they come in. And when you consider how much this costs, this is a big loss here for the Protoss, and there's really not much you can do about it. If you're good enough as Zerg, you can time this out perfectly, and as they pop out, you just go in and get the kill. Fortunately, for Deer, his production on the carriers was slightly staggered, so they all didn't quite pop out at the same time.
Hell, if this became completely regular, you'd do that on purpose, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that's what happened this time around, but this is one of those moments where the fact that you're a little bit off rhythm ends up being a benefit.
Oh, I know. That makes me mad when that is sometimes when stuff like that happens, right? Like you run your vultures to get the probes as they transfer, but they don't transfer because the guy is as bad as you are and doesn't do everything perfectly. Okay, big Ling drop coming in right now.
Yeah.
Adrenal is on the way, but it's not going to be ready for this particular drop unless he stops and holds it for a moment.
He might. This is a pretty big area down here where you can fly in a huge amount. Look at, there's tires over there. Someone's leaving spare tires at the bottom. Do you see that?
That's where tires go, is the ocean, Tasteless.
You realize how big a vehicle would have to be to have those tires?
It would be pretty big.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, I think that digs holes in Germany.
Yeah. So he's going to come in here now with this drop and have a secondary push over here. Now, if Deer doesn't handle both of these correctly, he's going to lose on one of these fronts, and it's going to be very hard to recover. Keep in mind, Zerg is basically going untouched. So Deer says, wait a minute, you don't quite have enough. I'm calling your bluff. I'm coming in here. I'm going to try to push this down. And, of course, the Broodlords can't really run away that fast. But great harpooning there, taking that carrier in, and one does go down.
Yeah, good play here from ByuL. I love this. He's not getting flanked. He's utilizing his spells well. He's zoning everything with those Broodlords and picking off a couple carriers. Those things are very expensive, so good kills, but he's still going to deal with the main bulk of the army.
So Deer now realizes, wait a minute, he doesn't quite have enough. So I'm going to come in here. He does stamp out that northern base, and I don't think Deer's going to push the issue. Instead, he's going to try to come around, take out this creep, knowing Zerg, of course, always has to expand a little bit more quickly than the Protoss, and therefore, the longer this game goes on, the more problematic it may become for the Zerg as the expansions become further and further out from the home base of ByuL.
And the Broodlords over the cliff right now.
Definitely a good position to have him in.
Yeah, it's so good at zoning out some of these units like Archons and High Templars and everything. You just can't do much against Broodlords with those.
So Deer has the right idea in mind. He wants to keep tagging the Corruptors because that's the unit he has to monitor. There's a degree of, because Broodlords are so sluggish, there's a degree of predictability on where they're going to go.
You got to really watch, because the thing is, the Corruptors are the things that will kill your valuable units. And then, of course, the Viper as well, right? Like, if you can see where the Vipers are, you can get your High Templars into position for feedback.
So he's going to try to free up some supply while getting an advantage out of it as well by sending these Stalkers over here and trying to harass these locations where the Broodlords are not. Deer is actually moving pretty far away from home, though. Another tag should come down here now. There it is. Whoa!
Get wrecked, Oracle!
Okay, nicely done. Harpooning the mothership. He takes that out. One Viper actually does not go down. Meanwhile, these Stalkers being used to try to free up some supply are doing some damage. And Deer's going for it. Are there too many Corruptors? That's a big question.
Those Psy Storms are just huge. The Baneling's rolling in. That was a huge amount of value and army lost for ByuL right there, but at the same time, it looks like he has enough Corruptors to clear out everything here. But he turns around! Oh! He definitely would have killed at least, I think he would have killed all of these
carriers.
He might still, no, I guess there's enough Stalkers now. Actually, that was a big misclick. I think that might have been an all-army hotkey move.
I think you're correct. It seemed a little bit odd because the plan had worked accordingly, right? Then he could have gone in and just, if he gets rid of these carriers, I mean, carriers take so long to make.
Yeah.
Along with the interceptors and everything else. But there's a lot more Corruptors out. I think the ground army is actually quite insufficient. And so from here, it's a fight where ByuL wins the air fight, and I think he actually wins the ground fight as well. And of course, with all these Corruptors, he can always go back and make some more Broodlords. Stalkers and DTs are the remaining army for now, which certainly isn't sophisticated enough to combat all the different options that Zerg have at their disposal.
Yeah, he's really lost so much value in his army. If you're going to go carriers, you really have to protect them so much. You need to always have Archons near him. You need to always have Psystorm near him, feedback near him, all that type of stuff.
Denied. Get out. God, ByuL's good.
Yeah.
That's going in his highlight reel for sure.
No doubt. A lot of Void Rays being added, and I like that quite a bit. Of course, Vipers can help to counter those as well.
Yeah.
We don't really see any High Templars, do we? That's kind of an issue here.
Yeah, well, he's so focused on making Archons. I guess he's got these 4 over here.
Yeah. And you notice he's warping Dark Templars for those. They're just a little bit less gas. They're a lot more minerals, but he doesn't care about his minerals. Zealots are not going to do that much for him right now. Cannons are not going to do that much. But every little drop of gas that he can save, that's where the value is for Deer right now. So that's why we see him utilizing Dark Templar for Archons.
If they max out and don't engage again, then we will start to see both players bank up. This is especially interesting for the Zerg, because that's where, if there is a big exchange, he can try to redistribute his income into a proper unit comp for the next fight, the next fight, the next fight. Deer is finally taking one of his exterior expansions. And from here on out, for Protoss, it's very hard to get additional bases.
Yeah.
And the same is true for Zerg, of course, as well, which makes the stakes even higher.
Yeah, this gets very dangerous on both sides, right? Because Psystorm can just be so army wrecking. Obviously, carriers have the highest DPS out there, so that's, you know, they obviously deal a lot of damage. But like, if suddenly you just fly in here and a bunch of stuff gets harpooned, you just abduct hits your mothership and like 2 carriers, that is so much money gone from your army.
It really is. So the first push is coming in here. Look at all this crap flying everywhere.
Yeah. This is just dirty.
This map is a mess.
Like
Are we supposed to be underwater? No life form is going to live here after this fight's done. Great engage coming up here. He will take down the mothership, and it looks like there just is not enough. That expansion goes down, but does ByuL try to hold his ground? The Stalker's now blinking in, but so many Broodlings just underneath them. The Void Ray's doing a great job, and I think with the next wave, Deer actually can take out the rest of this army.
Yeah, those Void Rays are doing massive work against these Corruptors. Carriers being kept alive because of that. So a good hold here by Deer.
Deer's continuing now to push out. We saw this happen once already, where he came out here after being victorious in a fight, then comes out here and tries to wipe out one of these bases, wherever he can find one, really.
Moving forward right now, there's a couple High Templars mixed in here as well. See Hydra's mostly being made. There's really no counter for these carriers, so that is an issue.
And he's continuing to come out. I think actually this game, the scale has finally been tipped. I believe that there's no stopping Deer. It's just too much. ByuL with some bad engages. GG. Deer takes game number 1.
Okay. Well played by Deer. Well played by ByuL as well. It was a fun one.
Well played by you too, Artosis.
Yeah, no, especially by me.
Yeah.
I was the true MVP.
You really saved it back there.
Yeah, I thought so too.
You were something else.
Yeah. So, if I could say what ByuL needs to do to beat Deer now,
please.
Okay, I think there's like 2 different ways that he can do this. Either A, he can be a little bit sharper with his Hydra Bane. If you look at all these games, Deer is not 100% ready for like 8-minute Hydra Bane, right? That's like, if you want to go macro Hydra Bane, you can hit Protoss at 8 minutes, no problem, with speed upgrades done, right? So that's where the big power spike is. If he doesn't want to do that, because that can be risky, right? If it doesn't work, if they hold that really well, then you're behind. Maybe a slightly sharper Broodlord attack, because Deer refuses to make Tempest. Like if you go Tempest against that first wave, you kill like everything. You know, Psystorm kills the ground units, and then you kill Broodlords, and it's like, well, ByuL's like, well, all my units are countered. But Deer is going just for like the superpower unit, the carrier, right? So I feel like there is a possibility he can get the damage done with the first Broodlord attack if he's sharp with it. But he's kind of given Deer all the benefit of the doubt and not,
GSL
not trying to attack.
Season 1 Code S, Daybreak. When the lights come out.
In the upper left of the blue.
ByuL.
And in the bottom right, in the red.
Deer.
All right. ByuL having a hard time here against Deer tonight. Imagine that's your Code S story as ByuL. You're like, okay, here I am. I'm back. I'm getting in good shape. I'm a scary Zerg. I can do it. And then ByuL Deer 4-0s you. And you're like, all right, going home.
Guess I know where I'm at.
Oh, man.
Well, that's what's kind of, in a way, kind of sad about seeing these two guys fight this early on. I mean, this is really how terrifying of a lineup we have here in the GSL Code S is that these guys, like one of these two gets eliminated before the round of 16, which feels weird. But then if you look at all the players that we have, I guess we really do have a pretty sick pantheon of StarCraft 2 pro gamers here.
It's quite true, but what you say, like, if I just handed you a piece of paper, I'm like, hey, Tasteless, you've been in a coma for a year and 3 months, and you're like, uh-oh.
And Trump is president. I'm like, oh, God.
On the piece of paper, I'm like, this is the match you're going to cast, and it's ByuL versus Deer. You'll probably look at that, you'll be like, are we in the round of 8? Like, what season is this? Right?
No, round of 32.
Yeah, no, it's round of 32. There you go. But this is definitely a round of 8 match that we're watching. That's what it is. It's not a round of 4 match now. It's a round of 8 match. I'm like, yeah, I think Deer will 3-2 ByuL. It'll be pretty good though.
Stargate again. I wonder if this game's going to go on as late as the last game we had with these two.
This is a pretty big macro map. Like you don't see games ended here.
Well, especially if Zerg takes the Broodlords, it's a very far distance to travel.
Yeah, it is. And it's like hard to attack up ramps and stuff too.
Sure.
So it's like this is the map where PVZs go very long. This one in Abyssal. But they're both very comfortable in that style as well.
Okay, the Oracle's on the way now.
Is it tasteless?
Whoa! Plot twist. He switched to a Phoenix. This guy's trying to make me look bad.
I like that. Plot twist.
Yeah.
Because your name is Plot.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that crazy?
That's what we did in my family is we took the normal word plot and we made it a little bit better. We added an extra T.
You misspelt it is what you mean.
We said we need another consonant in here, and there you go. 2 T's.
Wow. You guys did a great job with that.
Yeah, we did. Just like a crying Korean emoji. Just those 2 T's right there. Yeah. Have you been enjoying streaming Artosis?
Yeah, I have actually.
I've been enjoying watching it. That's my mornings.
Yeah?
I make my cup of tea.
I'm so sorry for you.
No, I love it. I love that for you playing Brood War is not just a game of passion. It is a total emotional experience from start to finish. Out of all the players I've watched play, nobody is truly experiencing every moment of the game as much as Artosis is.
Yeah.
The highs, the lows, the joy, the anger.
Yeah.
The disappointment, the surprise.
You are quite right.
Yeah.
Every day in those 3 hours, Tasteless.
Yes.
I live a full life.
Yes.
And at the end, there's that grim acceptance of death, where I've lost my last 3 games and all the ladder points I've gained in this session.
That's right.
And I'm like, I guess that.
Truly a myth
what
of
was
Sisyphus
this all
story
about?
here, yes.
I'm like, what was this all about? Was this even worth it? Would I do this again? Yeah, I guess I would as I log on
right.
this day. Oh, man. Ling slipped right in there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Deer.
It's a big scout, too. You see the Twilight, you see the Robo, the extra gates. I think he's going to make the 3rd Nexus as well, though.
I would imagine so. Just keep pushing out and teching up. So it looks like he might try to bank a little bit more energy in those Oracles and then try to come in again. Warp Prism coming up here. Although I don't believe this is going to be used for any kind of dramatic push. Instead, I think it's simply going to be used to try to punish Zerg if Zerg ever does try to move out too far. And we have 3 drones now shot down by those oracles. But his oracles are not back at home. Is he going to get a denial? That's why normally the oracles hover over that nexus.
Well, kind of being pulled around the map right now is poor Deer. Having a much harder time in this early game. Going into charge. Wait, didn't he start his Temp Archives then stop it? Or did it finish? Am I crazy?
I thought, well, you're crazy for sure, but I don't know. Did that actually finish? We'll never know.
I don't know. Okay, I think it finished because it's
right there.
High Templars.
Yep, on the right.
I'm fairly certain of this. Oh, that's always funny and fun. Ooh, I got to tell you, the worst feeling in the world. Oh, when you lose that Archon though, the Archon that was like making, and the like Lings or Roaches find it right away, and you can't cancel it. It's like very few things feel bad like that.
You're already.
That's like stubbing your toe. You're like, ow! This is terrible.
You're already writing a letter to Blizzard, asking if they could just be picked up by the Warp Prism when they're making. Like, why can't they do that?
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, so here comes the Archon harass. Now it's not going to have. It's not going to be as robust because one of those Archons is pretty low on shields. Uh-oh!
You've got to be kidding me.
Ah!
Okay, so he also lost sentries he was warping in during this, I believe. And that's why he wasn't looking at that. Sentries at his third base he was warping in. Okay, see? They were under attack. I think he lost 1. But losing that Prism with the Archons in it, needless to say, that is not what he was going for.
That's one way to put it, Artosis.
Well, that's why I said needless to say.
Needless to say. He was not going for
Do I really need to say it, guys?
Yeah.
He didn't fly that in there to lose it immediately with no damage.
Well, with those Archons gone, these Lings can do a lot more damage, more sentries going down. It just seems to be getting worse and worse here for Deer.
God.
As the remainder of his ground army is basically taken out, these Oracles unable to deny these Lings. Wow.
He attacks with the Lings into 2 active Oracles, 5 Zealots, and 3 Sentries, and kills it all, and the Oracles run out of energy, and he gets 4 probes. Like, wow!
He's got more Lings coming out here, too, as his Spire is continuing to make.
Oh, I love the Spire, too. That's great.
I think it's really smart.
Yeah. This is one of those games, man, where, like, the amount of defensiveness that Deer has to show here, you just, like, make mutas. There's, like, just a lot of tools at your disposal that you can utilize to kill him. Where's his anti-air? He doesn't have any tasteless. I swear.
Thank you.
Storm answering your questions for you that I give to you. When you're not saying exactly what I want you to say, I say it and pretend you said it.
You give me the idea and then you take it. Of course, Stasis, that's what's happening.
Tasis, I know you want to know right now why he's chronoing out this Immortal. I don't know, Tasis.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nexus coming down now. I mean, Deer had taken quite a beating back there, but I am curious how all these mutas that are going to come out are going to interact with the place that Deer is in right now, because Deer's unable to actually move out at all. He might get blindsided by this air army. There's not really any like super solid anti-air. Sentries are certainly not a response to this.
There's 2 funny, like, the thing is you can either go to mineral lines and start killing probes, or you could just go over and kill, like, the sentries. You know? Pick off some High Templars. Like, the world is your oyster here with these mutas.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different directions you can take, and as you're saying, there's not one that's really right or wrong. And it seems like Deer is actually itching to try to push out, or at least push some of the Spotterlings back here. Now, spotting those mutas is going to be pretty huge. When these mutas just go right for it on top of the Templars. Not bad. Actually flying right by.
Oh, there's none more Psystorm now, so that's a pretty big deal. Some Stalkers being warped in. That's not the unit you want right now.
Oh, great job taking out these Templars.
Man. Yeah. Real value out of these mutas already. Look at that in control pylon. I wish he could go get that.
Oh, takes out that Oracle. Now there's Stalkers up here. That's the only real response. Oh, well, if the Archon's connecting, that's another way to do it. Looks like that Phoenix goes down. The muta's now retreating. And we have several more Hydras coming up here now.
Yeah.
Zerg right now at 173 to 152. I don't know. Does Zerg actually want to push it all, though? He's making a lot more banelings.
Yeah, no, I think he can kind of push in here. He got rid of 6 High Templars. 4 of them became Archons. So that's still valuable for the Protoss player.
Sure.
But get rid of 6 of those. Plus, he forced out like 6 Stalkers and another Phoenix. So that's like a Warp Gate round of Stalkers that are not going to be that useful here.
Yeah,
they're not terrible, but they're not like the unit that you want in this composition. He doesn't have Blink. He doesn't have a lot of force fields. So yeah, I think that it's really nice for him to come over here and do see if he can get some damage.
A very wide open area. The storms will have to be perfect.
That was a good storm.
Yeah, nice force fields too, curbing some of those lings up.
God.
You can see ByuL not wanting to overextend. He's going to try to go in again. I don't believe there's any more force fields, or at least enough to really make a difference here. Great storm on those Banes. Oh my God. He stormed every single Baneling.
That was so crazy how good his storms were.
Unreal. Well, from here, I think the Deer can push the issue.
Yeah.
Deer now going to come up, realizing that Circus lost so much gas, and it's not like it was a trade in any way. It was Protoss mana spent taking out a ton of gas that was spent here by the Zerg.
Yeah. That's crazy. I just can't even believe how much he did there.
Yeah. I mean, the Hydras and Lings alone never cut it. Basically, the Banelings are supposed to do this burst of damage that Protoss, no matter how fast they fire, for instance, with Archons or with Immortals, they'll never take them all out. Then the big damage comes in, and the Hydras clean up everything very quickly with their high DPS. But with Deer shutting down those Banelings so handily, the Hydras and Lings alone are just not going to cut it.
And they start to come down, but there are High Templars waiting. Not a ton of Psystorms on those, but enough that you don't want to be attacking in with these Hydras right now. So he backs up. He is going Hive. It's much later than some of these previous games, but ByuL got aggressive this game, which I really do like. He did a good job in a lot of ways, but Deer has stabilized. He's taking his 5th base right now. He's getting his full tech, getting the Dark Shrine out even to get some more harassment going.
Okay, this is a very nice. I was going to say this is definitely an opportune moment to try to get more storms up on that. Looks like the Mutas will not be able to deny the space in the upper right. And with Deer putting so much pressure on ByuL, I think ByuL might be a little bit uncomfortable trying to counterattack with ground. Okay, this is a pretty crazy arc, but I think he might have enough storms if he does it right.
Yeah, it's very scary to go down to. The Archons will get erased pretty quickly by the Hydras, and then the Banelings have a little bit of a clearer path, I guess. A lot of Lings coming up for a counterattack here, going to deny that 5th base.
But because he sees all those Lings up there, Deer decides he might be able to push in a little bit further. Kind of an Guardian Shield back there.
Oh! Gets some of the High Templars here, but enough live that he is not going to be chased down.
Yeah, a whittled down Deer army is going to have to go ahead and go back home.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, dude, ByuL's going to go in again for another kill move. He's got so many Banes.
ByuL just started Aspire after his Hive finished. I think he forgot that he had Aspire earlier on. That happens sometimes?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So, even at the highest level of play, occasionally, if you got Aspire at a certain weird point in time, you'll end up following kind of another algorithm in your brain and make another Spire even though you didn't need it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, his Hive already finished. He could have have his Greater Spire done already, right? But watch, as this Spire finishes, I bet you he starts a Greater Spire with it. So that's definitely a big mistake.
Baneling's coming down here to try to hit these Templars. Good save.
Ooh, yeah.
Deer is once again going to try to push out. Note that many of the times that Deer is trying to attack out here, the Zerg army is a little bit bigger than his, usually maxed out.
He's coming down this ramp once again here. A lot of High Templars.
Okay, again, Deer just using that ramp so well. Okay, here come the storms now. Great side storms. The Baneling's actually retreating through some of that. So many Immortals remaining, but Immortals are not the counter to Hydras, and this is a big win right now for ByuL.
Yeah, he's erasing a ton of these valuable units.
That was the play. That's what he needed to do. However, Deer is still starting to shred up the bottom with all these Zealots hitting this expansion.
Man. He does not want to lose that base. This is how Deer snuck out a victory in this map previously. Zealots just kind of killing a base while he was taking damage.
Sometimes that's how it goes, where it's not really the big battle. It's actually a small warpin somewhere else that takes out a base that allows you to win the game. But that being said, ByuL does manage to keep the base alive.
Okay, that's so important, and that means that he's on 6th base. Now, the 5th base is being taken again by Deer. It doesn't look like it's done quite yet, about to finish up.
Now, even though Deer lost that big fight in the middle of the map. I mean, his bases are pretty much going untouched. He still has room to try to tack up. The question really is, will ByuL, going into this Broodlord phase, try to do any kind of pushes? It's a very big map. It's a long travel distance, and Protoss can start to play the counterattack game again. But otherwise, I think that, and I don't think he's going to necessarily go for a big Hydra Bane bust, but we'll see.
Well, I think you do the frontal push. Like, as soon as you get Broodlords, you need to be pushing into Protoss, because once they start to counter your Broodlords, their value goes so far down. But like against this army, Broodlords are going to be super powerful. They zone High Templars and Archons so well. They clog up the ground for Zealots. And let's not forget, the great enemy of the Immortal is the Broodlord.
Oh, well, a very small attack here might be able to take out this Nexus. We have Archons and Zealots scrambling to get down here to save this in time. Can they do it? It's getting low. Big save. Very important he keeps that alive.
Yeah, if he loses that Nexus while these Broodlords are flying over, not a good place to be. That is a hell of a lot of Broodlords, and not that much it hits air. He just needs to get perfect Psy Storms, basically.
Ooh, he does not want to fight this up here.
Certainly not.
And
look at that. Oh my god.
In a twist in this game, ByuL now utilizing that high ground. And this is where he's going to have a foothold. He can choose where to try to attack into this location. These two bases are so important here for Deer. Deer really has to win this fight. And I don't know if he can actually pull that off.
This is so many Broodlords. He's split them just magnificently. Some good storms going off. Yeah. The Archons absorbing a lot of hits from these main lanes.
Oh my god, this engage is insane.
Deer really on top of it with his spellcasting, but the anti-air here is getting extremely low.
Yeah, despite the storms, the Broodlords are just, there's nothing that can really combat them. He's made some more Stalkers. I'm assuming he's going to be warping in more right now. He has to back off. Those Stalkers coming up. Still some Hydras, though, down here to try to help defend.
He does not have Blink, so he needs to get in range. That's
GG.
GG, yeah.
Evened out. ByuL takes game 2.
Okay. ByuL fighting back, showing a little bit more aggression, a little bit more speed there, mixing it up. And it worked out super well for him. That was a good game. We have a lot of good games tonight.
Yeah, we're having a nice, long, epic night.
Yeah.
Again, it's all going to come down to this last game. Either ByuL or Deer is about to be eliminated from Season 1 of the 2018 GSL Code S. Not a good start to the year for players who are this accomplished.
No. One of these guys about to be eliminated. I think Deer, after he won game 1, was like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
Up 3-0 on ByuL tonight, but with a single game, ByuL brings it.
Map number 3 is going to be Catalyst. This is different from our first 2 maps. It's not as big and wide. So in a boxier map like this, it may come down a lot more to pushes in the mid game or pressure builds.
Yeah. It's definitely not the gigantic macro turtle map as the other 2 were.
Okay, the game is loaded up. Let's do this. The last game of the night. Deer versus ByuL.
Code S, Daybreak. When the lights come on, when the crowd goes wild, rip the roof up over here, take it to the stratosphere.
In the bottom right in the blue, he is
ByuL.
and in the upper left in the red,
Deer.
Pylon Scout coming out here from Deer. Harass that mineral patches a bit.
good play.
Yeah. ByuL does not like that try-harding. Gonna chase it with a drone.
I don't know who's going to move on. I love both these players so much. It's kind of weird because we've been casting this for so long, right? We have a connection with each of these players. We've been here since the very beginning. We've watched them grow.
Yeah.
We've watched some of these guys reach the highest levels of success. We've seen incredibly painful defeats. We've seen them come back year after year after year, devoting everything to StarCraft 2. And this is a tough one. There is so much on the line for these two guys. and someone is going to be breathing a big sigh of relief while the other player is going to be going home very, very disappointed.
It is true. I got to say, I'm kind of rooting for ByuL a little bit.
Oh, really? I was actually kind of rooting for Deer.
Well, I love ByuL's like no BS, I'm a mechanical god Zerg type of play.
Yeah.
Where he's just like watching him go like Ling Bane Muta against Terran, for instance, back when that was still the thing. It's like, oh yeah, my God, it's just so sexy what he can get done. Like how many units he can produce, how he can move around with them. I love his style overall. He plays Zerg like Zerg should be played, IMO.
Yeah, he is a very scary player. He's definitely, you're right, he does have his own style. And he does like to bludgeon his opponent. He likes to mass up. He doesn't seem to try to do really anything sneaky early on.
Yeah, basically the sneakiest he gets is, well, he likes Mutalisks quite a bit, which I think is really cool. Mutas used in the right place can be so powerful. Like, I liked those 8 Mutas he made. I thought that was super cool. Like,
it was actually, I take that back. That was something that was pretty deceptive to try to throw his opponent off. I guess what I was saying is he doesn't want to end the game right away like some of these guys that want to all in.
Yeah.
He seems to truly believe that he's just overall better, so why would he throw away an opportunity by trying to take a risk? Yeah. Whereas if he can just get far along enough, he just always has more. He's going to be better at making decisions with massive armies, as that chess game is played where they're trying to outmaneuver each other and outposition each other.
Indeed. Got to respect the macro Zergs, man.
Sure. Well, those are sometimes the scariest people to play against, are the macro Zergs. When you get a Zerg that's so good that you can't leave your base,
yeah,
that's a rough feeling.
And Phoenix on the way now after that Oracle. Evolution Chamber for the quick +1 melee. The Robo coming up. See if he's going to get aggressive with this before taking the third. I'm not thinking that he will, but he could.
So the Oracle is going to come in. We'll probably get 1 to 2 kills. Oh, he's going to go for the trap.
ByuL is on top of things, man. He's a quick player. Excellent at multitasking. Doesn't get caught by things like that very often.
Okay, the 3 gates are done. The Robo's on the way. We'll probably see that first Immortal made out of that. As Deer may poke and prod with these few Adepts that are out. See if he can't force any more Lings out. Maybe take out a Queen, creep tumors. Anything really that he can get is going to be worthwhile. It is interesting to see how Zergs, over years, they started out with the Adepts being a complete and total nightmare because we never had a unit that really moved like this in RTS.
Yeah.
Ever. So it was like the Zergs and the Terrans had to add new wrinkles to their brain
yeah.
to try to figure out how to manage this thing. But people have gotten very, very good at holding them off because, man, I remember the first 6 months of Legacy of the Void, and it was just crazy seeing how much damage these Adepts could do.
No, I know. It was pretty wild, and they were a lot stronger back then even.
That's true as well.
But yeah, it took a while for people to get used to that. I like where the Adept's at right now pretty much. I like the vision of the Shade, that slight increase. You know, it's still a powerful unit, but you can definitely counter it. You see it coming.
We've got 4 more gates coming down here.
Ah.
Second gateway explosion, make it 5.
Yeah, we see exactly what he's going to go for. We've seen this build already tonight. Going to be a massive Sentry Adept. I don't know if I want to call it an all-in, but it's like, you know...
It's like a pressure play.
It's
a push.
You have a third Nexus, but you got to get something done with this. This is a lot of gas you're putting in. Glaives doesn't translate well into the late game. I mean, it's useful, but it's like you're not going to fight a big max Zerg army with it, that's for sure.
That Ling, right before it died, did see the Warp Prism come out. Now, ByuL knows what he's up against. The question is his control going to be able to match
Dude,
the Force Field's Deer?
Drop Lord with Banes against Sentries is so good.
Well, there's not much you can do against it. Force Fields won't help you here. He doesn't quite have any real anti-air to shut down the Overlord before the drop itself can actually occur. If he drops and takes out those sentries,
he's got to warp in Stalkers. He has to warp in Stalkers, I think.
Yeah. Well, he has to do the drop right now.
Okay, here we
go. Here we go.
Okay, a decent spread so far. Oh, God, another Drop Lord coming in as well, taking out so many sentries.
Okay, so it's just 2 Immortals and some remaining Adepts. But with this many banelings, you have to think those adepts
wait.
could be taken out easily.
I was like, oh, okay. I thought the War Prism was gone for a second there. Wow, good connections right there as well. The Prism gets taken out.
Big plays here by ByuL. He's hanging on pretty well, but the push is not done yet, although it cannot be reinforced. Bear in mind, Deer is not actually managing. That base is done, but he's not mining. Yeah. Ooh, that's not normal. So he's
it's like a Placekeeper Nexus, right? Like you're trying to do damage here. You're trying to throw them off with that, but as you said, the Lings saw the Prism popping out. He knew what was coming. He started morphing his drop lords.
A Nexus here for optics isn't going to help if he already sees that War Prism come out.
It's just a big, expensive pylon with Chrono Boost attached, more supply. And you can send probes there if you want, or recall to it.
It's really a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But the push continuing, I guess Deer is going to rely on simply having the follow-up. The Oracle now back here to try to make sure this Nexus can stay in case Deer is forcing the plan B, which is to try to mine from this. ByuL is simply massing up and bracing for impact with this next push.
Dude, I love all the spines. Like,
yeah,
he is really defending. He is not screwing around here, and that's what he needs. Look at that, 3 drop lords now, but there's stalkers. So this can backfire. These drop lords can backfire. Oh god, Link's all over everything.
He's coming in, nothing's targeting these overlords.
Oh, he grabs all the sentries into the Prism, a great counter micro move.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Oh my god.
The push is coming in at double force. There's only 2 spines up here. We don't see any more banelings inside the overlords, so force field's gonna deny this.
Oh my god. This micro of Deer just out of this world. The spines not even getting burrowed before they're under fire.
Zerg actually supply blocked right now. I think Deer with the micro play, saving those sentries, was the play that should allow him to actually win this game.
Yeah, with those sentries being alive, he stopped the next baneling wave, and it looks like he should be able to kill ByuL now. Wow, really well done by Deer. I thought for sure he was going to lose after the first push went away.
I was about to say, I don't blame Deer for trying a second push, but it's probably not going to work. But Deer with these micro tricks, even though the idea of what ByuL was doing was awesome, it was not enough. Deer, a very, very tricky player to try to outmaneuver here. And this is basically the beginning of the end. There's no more drones in sight. GG. Deer is our final survivor of Group B.
ByuL just crushed, man. He immediately puts his hands on his face. Deer looks shaken by how tough that was. That was a close one, man. He knew when that first push got smashed, he was like, uh-oh. ByuL is sitting there with lots of spines. He's on 61 drones against 40-something probes. Like, there was some good stuff going on for ByuL, but could not hold on to that second push.
ByuL really feeling the hurt here. I can only imagine, how frustrated he must feel. He was so close to holding that push. He tried to set up for a powerful drop, one that would be a KO. Had it connected to those sentries because, of course, force fields are the natural enemy of banelings.
Yeah.
But Deer, with split-second decision-making, has those sentries immediately transfer into the Warp Prism. The banelings connect onto Immortals. It's not enough. GG. Now to the interview.
축하드립니다.
Congratulations, Deer. Thank you.
네, 자 2018년 첫 시즌 16강에 올라가네요. 먼저 소감이 어떠세요?
How do you feel? You made it to the round of 16.
올라갈 줄 알았는데 이렇게 좀 힘들게 올라가서 좀 섭섭해요.
I thought I was going to make it to the round of 16 as first place, but I managed to squeeze through in second. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself.
선수 4승 1패. 이 저그전에 대한 완벽한 이해로 진출하게 됐습니다.
So you met ByuL 2 times.
동준 선수의 그 개념,
You definitely have a deep understanding about Zerg and how this matchup works.
저는 연습 때는 확실히 힘들긴 한데 그래도 제 스스로 연습을 많이 해가지고 자신감.
When I practice against Zerg,
근데
it's usually just a tough matchup overall, but I've been training so much. I just had a lot of confidence facing even ByuL.
제가 맞춤으로 좀
Also personally,
이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
against ByuL,
맞춤. 근데 그 첫 번째 대결에 비해서
I had specific builds set up in mind for him and his play style. And I think that's one of the reasons I pulled through with the victory.
너무 좀 말도 안 되는 실수를 해가지고 처음부터 그냥 지는 줄
So I did make a big mistake on Ascension to Ire.
가능성이 보이더라고요.
I thought I was going to lose on that map, but
천천히 했으면
I saw a moment to exploit a weakness and flip the game in my favor.
그 점은 좀 고쳐야 될 것 같아요.
But
방송에서의 조금 급한 점은 고쳐야 할 것 같다.
I think sometimes I try to play too hastily when I have these broadcasted matches. I need to work on that.
하셨는데 어떻게 다른가요?
지난 시즌은 처음부터 그냥 예선도 못 뚫고 그래가지고 좀
I hear you have a different mindset entering into the season. Yes, that's correct. Last year, there were some moments where I couldn't even make it into the GSL. I was limited in qualifiers. So
자신감은 갖고 있어요.
네, 연습을
So I put a lot of effort into my practice and tried to boost my confidence.
선수 익히 알려진 대로 그 절친 전태양 선수와 이병열 선수 이 지난해 이 두 명의 선수가 보여준 활약.
So you're a good friend of TY and
두
Ro.
명의 절친이 보여준 활약 백동준 선수에게도 미친
And they showed some tremendous achievements last year in 2017. Does that affect your mindset at all?
친구들이
Honestly, yes.
부럽고 그리고 저도 좋고 그랬는데
Those guys are my good friends, and they're great pro gamers.
그래서 저도 지금
And I'm happy for them that they got great results. But that motivated me as well. Like I should be getting some good results too.
나오진 않았던 것 같은데 그래서 앞으로 계속 나올 수 있었으면 좋겠어요.
와, 이 세 절친의 그 멋진 경쟁 저희가 기대를 하고 있겠습니다.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to show the performance that I really wanted.
지금 백동준 선수의 전성기 부활 이런 모습들을 많이 그려져요. 앞으로 어떤 모습 보여드리고 싶은지 마지막으로 팬분들께 한마디 들어보겠습니다.
오늘은 약간
So what kind of performance are you going to show to your fans from now on? Well, personally, I was actually a little bit disappointed with my games. They were a little bit lackluster. Anyways, the round of 16, my goal is to make it to the round of 8 in first place.
팬분들도 좀 밖에 나가지 마시고.
To be honest, I've been a little bit sick lately. My condition isn't great. But I do want to say to everybody who's watching, stay inside. It's freezing in Korea. Just stay inside and watch StarCraft 2. That's what you should be doing.
That is great advice.
That is
알겠습니다. 다시
wise
한번
man.
16강 진출 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
자, 이렇게
And once again,
오늘
congratulations,
불구하고 투혼을
dear.
보여준 백동준 선수의
Man, too bad for
16강 진출 확인했는데요. 오늘의
Yeah.
16강 진출자
That was a tough one for ByuL. It was a tough group overall. I felt like anyone could make it out, but the two Protosses do at the end of the day.
SOS, let's see how far he can go in this tournament. He's somebody who's had so much success.
Yeah. Well, he's looking poised, man. Like, he's in such good shape. Number one on the ladder. Showing solid plays. Not really mind games today. I mean, he's ready. At any point, this guy can win any tournament. Maybe this first GSL will be his. He'll just lock in BlizzCon early.
That would be a nice change here. Normally, SOS is more dominant in the later part of the year.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Group C, which will be on Saturday at 1 p.m. KST. That is a good time for you if you're in North America. We've got a great lineup there. Scarlett, this is her 4th GSL Code S.
Yeah.
Very impressive to see that she can actually be that consistent. Rogue is somebody I guess you got to watch out for with how successful he was winning the WCS Global Finals 2017.
Absolutely. Best Zerg in the world. You got to give it to him. Of course, Alive had a good year at the beginning of last year and kind of petered off a bit. And then Do-Kyung, you're like, who's Do-Kyung? He looks familiar. That's Billowy, guys. He changed his ID to his name. So there you have it. This Protoss player, if he can beat Rogue, that will be perhaps the most impressive thing that's ever occurred for Billowy to beat Rogue.
I am not counting on it, but I do like surprises.
Yeah.
Surprises are cool. It's unfortunate that SortOf was eliminated. I do hope he continues to try out for the GSL Code S. I think these non-Korean players, the more Code S's they play in, the more comfortable they are, the better results they bring. So show SortOf some love, and hopefully we'll have him back here next season.
Yeah, I hope so. Good luck to him in the future and at WCS Leipzig.
Well, that does it for us tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us. We love you. Be sure to not miss out on Saturday. Again at 1 p.m. KST. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are.
2018 GSL Season 1 Code S Daybreak.